Up next, we have Brex. We have Callie Baird and Tanner McClune coming to talk to us. Callie graduated from Utah State University and Aggie too. She graduated in finance and now she's working as an operations analyst at Brex. Tanner also graduated from Utah State with a bachelor's degree in management information systems, and he's working as a rotational analyst at Brex. And we're super excited to have them here today and to talk to us a little bit. So Callie and Tanner, you can take it away.
Awesome, thank you, Nicole. Let me just share my screen here really quick. Awesome. Can everyone see this? Is that working?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, thanks. Yeah, so like Nicole mentioned, we're with Brex, and we both just graduated last year. So I'm Tanner McClune. Like she said, I graduated in information systems, and I'm part of the summer rotational class. So I just started here at Brex a couple of months ago, and then Callie was part of our winter rotational class. So she started in January, I believe. And we both work on separate teams, but we're both on the operations or in the operations department. So for a quick industry overview of corporate finance, just a quick what is corporate finance? It's a branch of finance that really focuses on how we're able to drive value and maximize value from a company, and how we can do that more efficiently and in the best way possible. So a couple different careers in corporate finance that you can see that are common. Risk analysis, operations, financial planning and analysis, which is looking at financial statements and planning for the future, strategy, accounting, market analysis, mergers and acquisitions, those kinds of things, which are more just based on how can we drive value from the company in the best way possible. And then, so specifically, we're talking about Brex today. And Brex is a FinTech company. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what FinTechs are and what kind of the key differences between FinTechs and traditional financial institutions are. So FinTechs are the technology and innovation companies, and they're aiming to compete with traditional financial methods in the delivery of financial services. So it's very technology-based companies. There's the functional similarities are there between a normal financial institution and a FinTech company. Our FinTech companies primarily focus more on the technology side and how we can use that to make these systems better into a more technological future going forward. So here are the big key differences between FinTechs and traditional finance. So you see on the left, I got a couple companies that you may know, Brex, PayPal, Robinhood, and companies like that, and some other companies such as Amex, Zions Bank, and Goldman Sachs, which are more traditional. So these key differences are FinTechs are much faster paced. They have a lot of constant changing movements compared to a traditional financial company, which are a lot more stable in terms of what they do, and they have stronger SOPs, meaning that it is harder to get new products out there. It's harder to constantly change. But that also means that they are a more stable, longer lasting company. So there's trade-offs there with both types. And they're more focused, FinTechs are more focused on solutions and products, while traditional financial institutions will offer a larger portfolio of services to their customers. And in a FinTech, you work closely with engineering, product, and design, which is what EPD is, which is a lot different than traditional financial companies, where a lot of the EPD teams are outsourced, or they're a lot smaller, which is a bit of a difference there. And then there's a stronger consumer data analytics with FinTechs versus traditional finance companies who have more of a sticky consumer base, but aren't as focused on their customer data analytics. And then, obviously there's a larger focus on technology, while traditional financial companies have a higher trust and track record. And then lastly here, there's a really heavy functional work with EPD and other departments. So like personally, I work with engineering and product on almost a daily basis, and other departments across the board. And then like on a weekly basis, I work with a lot of the certain technologies like SQL, Python, and Looker, which is really similar to Tableau. So these are stuff that are used a lot more in FinTech companies. And while they are used at traditional financial companies, they're kind of put a more heavy focus at FinTechs versus traditional finance. And we focus a lot on process improvement and how we can scale a company faster without having to scale the headcount. So as a company grows exponentially, we do not want the headcount of employees of the company to grow exponentially, because that's harder on a balance sheet for everyone there. And then I'll pass it over to Callie, who's going to talk a little bit more about Brex specifically.
Awesome. Thanks for that industry overview, Tanner. So like he said, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Brex and what we do, as well as give a quick overview of the programs that we have here. So first, what actually is Brex? Like, what do we even do? So pretty much, like Tanner said, we are a FinTech startup that was founded in 2017. And our ultimate goal is to reimagine financial operating systems so that every growing company can realize their full potential and become successful. And so our main customers are tech startups, sometimes like ourselves, and small businesses. And one of the biggest challenges for these companies is getting funding and having enough cash to operate their businesses. So our main products are corporate credit cards and other credit products, as well as cash management accounts. These are really similar to bank accounts, but not quite, since Brex isn't a bank, but they do have lots of similarities. And a couple of highlights about Brex. We reached unicorn status in 6 months after first opening. We are a fully remote company. There is an option to work in an office if you want to, and if you live in a city where there is an office, like for example, for a lot of people that live in Salt Lake right now in our company, they can go into our office, which is in Draper. I've been there a couple times and it's awesome. I actually really like our office. Some other things, we are currently valued at $7.4 billion. And we have an awesome team of people from all over. We've had people join us from Amex, Capital One, Goldman Sachs, Facebook, and Google, just to name a few. And so now on to the jobs and programs that y'all might be interested in. And so we've got 2 programs at the moment. And the first is our rotational analyst program, which is the one that Tanner and I are in right now. And this is a full-time job for graduates. And then we also have a summer internship program. So for the rotational analyst program, this starts in either January or July of 2022. And it's an 18-month program where you'll spend 6 months each on 3 different teams within operations, and then be placed permanently on a team at the end of the year and a half. And one thing that I really like about this program is just the amount of exposure that you get to different teams, instead of just being hired right out of college and being kind of stuck on the team where you were hired until you can maybe work your way into a different team or a different position. Whereas here you get exposure to multiple teams in a pretty short amount of time, which really helps you learn about Brex as a whole, as well as find a good fit for yourself. And then next we have our intern program, which will be for 3 months starting next June, with the idea that it'll serve as a funnel for the full-time analyst program. And so interns won't have rotations like we do in the rotational analyst program, but you guys will have visibility to the current rotational analysts, and will have available to their learning and development events, so that you guys can kind of see what it's like to be a full-time rotational analyst. And so anyways, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to our quick little spiel about Brex and about the industry overview. Here are 2 QR codes that you guys can scan if you're interested in applying or learning more about Brex and about our positions in general. And I can also link those down in the Zoom chat below if they aren't working for whatever reason. Let me do that really quick. And then beyond that, we would like to open it up for questions. If anyone has questions about Brex, about the industry, about what we do, time's all yours.
I had a couple questions. So both of you are in the rotational analyst position. And I think, Callie, you've had, I would assume you've had 2 positions now. Which positions have you guys worked in? And did you like them, or like, what have you thought about the positions that you're working in right now?
Yeah, I can start off answering that one really quick. So I spent my first 6 months on the underwriting team from January to July of this past year. And then I switched over to the cash operations team in July, and then I'll be there until next January. And I've really liked both positions so far. And I think something that I had mentioned as well is that you just get the exposure where, so I started out in underwriting and I liked it there. And then I switched to cash and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And it turns out that I liked it way more than I ever thought I was going to. So now I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Maybe I want to go be on the cash team permanently after this program is done.
Yeah, that's very similar for me. I currently work on the risk operations team under KYC and periodic review, which is KYC's Know Your Customer, if you guys are familiar with that. And not a team that I would have thought I would have enjoyed. However, it is like really cool. Like we're onboarding really cool clients and, you know, making sure that they are in compliance with banking standards and kind of in that space. So it's actually been a really fun rotation so far, but I'm just on my first, so I don't have much to compare it to like Callie does.
What would a day look like for an intern if you did the summer internship?
I can take that one. So currently we're still kind of fleshing out the internship program since if any of you guys do become interns, you'll be some of the first interns that we have at Brex. There have been a couple before, but not a ton. But pretty much you'll have very project focused work where in each of the interns jobs descriptions, you'll do a lot of operation specific projects. So for example, some projects that I've worked on that are similar would be fixing the website or like the portal where our customers can send wires to each other or to other businesses or to consumers, and going through and fixing our contact info for like international wires, where sometimes wires get held or are failed for certain reasons if the information isn't put in correctly. So there could be something like that, or creating diagrams that map out our processes, or even collecting data and analyzing that to see how we can improve different processes that we do here, or how to fix some things that might be going on, because we are a startup. So, you know, that comes with a lot of issues sometimes as we're just figuring things out ourselves. So that's our ultimate goal, is to streamline our processes and to help make working here a better experience as well for ourselves and our customers.
I think we have time for one more question if anybody has one.
I have a question.
Perfect.
How much coding are we talking about? Because I think some people in the business school know how to code a little bit, or they know how to, you know, read Python a little bit, and then some people are way more ahead. What is kind of baseline knowledge you think you would need to go into Brex?
I can take that one. You don't necessarily need to have any programming knowledge or experience at all. If you have that, it can make things easier for you. Like personally, I'm using Python to automate some tasks that are pretty like automatable, like they're kind of menial tasks that are almost just button pushing. But then if you're able to automate those, it creates better business process. So those are things that you can do if you'd like, but I know that some people probably haven't even touched any code or SQL at all. So it kind of just really depends on what you'd like to do, but there is no need for that to happen, but you kind of can if you want. I don't know if Callie can speak to her experience with that at all.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of on the opposite side of Tanner, where I took, I think, like 2 MIS classes and learned 2 coding things at the very beginning of college, and I don't remember a single thing of it. So I've definitely been able to succeed here without having pretty much any coding knowledge. There are a couple positions that you have in the analyst, like the rotational analyst program, where coding is required, but they have said that they will teach you. And I'm not in one of those positions, so I don't really use that. but there definitely are opportunities to learn as well as to grow and help advance if you do know those things, but it's definitely not a detriment if you don't have any coding or that sort of experience.
Perfect. I think our time's up. Thank you so much, Callie and Tanner, for coming and talking to us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but on the screen, we did have our emails and LinkedIn's up. So don't hesitate to reach out. We are so happy to talk to you guys if you have more questions and we're always happy to help fellow Aggies. So thank you.